Isabel, quite clearly, is a bunch of adolescents who haven't got a clue what they're doing, least of all the man at the top of this pile of rubbish, Keir Starmer.
Entitled politicians having a great time. And I tell you what else they hate. They hate the lies. And it's quite obvious to me that there have been lies.
Not only did Keir Starmer film various messages to the public pretending he was at home, he actually filmed his tribute to the Queen after she died in the same penthouse. I mean, this is unbelievable to me.
In the corridors of Westminster and the living rooms of Britain, a question echoes louder than ever. What defines a true leader? For Prime Minister Keir Starmer, the spotlight has turned uncomfortably bright, revealing cracks not only in his political strategies, but also in his carefully curated public persona. Once heralded as a man of integrity, his tenure has become a battlefield of controversies, from alleged dishonesty about his personal life to decisions that critics claim prioritize privilege over people. As trust erodes and whispers of scandal grow into a storm, one wonders, can Starmer weather the turbulent seas of political judgment? Or is his leadership already doomed to crumble? Isabel Oakeshott, a journalist infamous for her sharp tongue and relentless pursuit of political accountability, has been one of Starmer's most vocal critics. Since the moment he assumed office, Oakeshott has meticulously dissected his every move. She accuses him not only of policy missteps, but also of presenting a misleading public image. The controversy over Starmer's alleged filming of key lockdown messages from a luxurious penthouse, presented as his modest home, stands out as one of the most damaging stories to date. Oakeshott's fiery rhetoric continues to ignite debates across the political spectrum. While the mainstream media has largely avoided delving deeply into Starmer's private life, persistent rumors and speculations have become an open secret in Westminster. Questions about his past and personal relationships have circulated for years, with Oakeshott leading the charge to bring them into public scrutiny. For her, these allegations go beyond mere gossip. They symbolize a deeper issue of transparency and trust in leadership. One of the most damning accusations is Starmer's alleged lack of judgment during his tenure. Reports of extravagant personal indulgences, including luxury concert tickets and a multi-million-pound penthouse, have sparked outrage among a population grappling with economic instability. Critics argue that such actions paint the picture of a leader disconnected from the struggles of ordinary citizens. Starmer's handling of international relations has also drawn sharp criticism. Despite opportunities to strengthen diplomatic ties, he has been accused of hesitating to engage with influential figures, even at the expense of Britain's strategic positioning. Notably, he reportedly dismissed Nigel Farage's offer to facilitate connections with Donald Trump's camp, an oversight that Oakeshott has labeled as short-sighted and politically naive. Adding fuel to the fire is Oakeshott's alignment with global free speech advocates like Elon Musk. Together, they highlight concerns about what they perceive as a crackdown on online dissent under Starmer's administration. Critics allege a two-tier justice system, where ordinary citizens face disproportionate penalties while more significant issues go unaddressed. In domestic policy, Starmer's leadership style has been described as robotic and uninspired. Allies and critics alike have questioned whether he possesses the resilience to navigate Britain through its current crises. Oakeshott's relentless scrutiny has only amplified these concerns, portraying him as a reactive, rather than proactive, leader. The public discontent has been further fueled by reports of extravagant donations and gifts received by Starmer, raising ethical questions about his priorities. Critics argue that such actions undermine his message of integrity and responsibility, leaving his administration vulnerable to accusations of hypocrisy. As the next general election looms, Starmer faces mounting pressure to prove his mettle. The stakes have never been higher. Will he rise to the occasion and regain the public's trust? Or will the relentless critiques from figures like Oakeshott define his legacy? One thing is certain. The eyes of the nation are firmly fixed on Keir Starmer, and his every move will shape not only his political fate, but also the future of British leadership. As the next general election approaches, the stakes for Starmer could not be higher. Public opinion remains divided, with supporters praising his pragmatic approach to governance and detractors lambasting his perceived lack of vision and connection with ordinary citizens. The question of whether Starmer can regain the public's trust hinges on his ability to address the criticisms that have come to define his tenure. For many, this means not only delivering on policy promises, but also demonstrating a level of transparency and integrity that has been called into question by figures like Oakshott. Keir Starmer's tenure as Prime Minister has been anything but smooth. From allegations of dishonesty and personal indulgence to policy decisions that have left citizens feeling neglected, his leadership has faced relentless scrutiny. Yet, amidst the criticisms and controversies, whether this perception will hold in the face of mounting challenges is uncertain. As the nation grapples with economic instability, social unrest, and a rapidly changing global landscape, the demand for strong and decisive leadership has never been greater. For Starmer, the road ahead is fraught with obstacles, and the outcome of his leadership journey remains to be seen. Keir Starmer's rise to prominence came at a time of significant turmoil in British politics. Following the divisive years of Brexit and the chaotic leadership of his predecessors, Starmer was perceived as a stabilizing figure. With his background as a barrister and former director of public prosecutions, he presented himself as a pragmatic, rule-bound leader, capable of restoring order to an increasingly fractured political landscape. Yet, this reputation has come under fire as his time in office has exposed a series of missteps and controversies. One of the most glaring criticisms has been Starmer's perceived lack of connection with ordinary citizens. Critics argue that his leadership style is overly technocratic, focusing on abstract policies while failing to resonate with the public's day-to-day struggles. This disconnect has become particularly evident during periods of economic hardship. As inflation soars and public services falter, Starmer's decisions, or lack thereof, have been characterized as aloof and unrelatable. For instance, his administration's refusal to amend the winter budget, despite calls for immediate support for the most vulnerable, highlights what critics describe as a detachment from the realities facing millions of Britons. While Starmer emphasizes long-term economic strategies, the immediate suffering of citizens appears to go unchecked, raising questions about his priorities. Adding to these challenges are persistent rumors and controversies surrounding Starmer's personal life. While the mainstream media has largely refrained from delving into his private affairs, whispers have circulated within Westminster's elite circles for years. These speculations took a more public turn when Isabel Oakeshott accused Starmer of dishonesty, pointing to instances where he allegedly misrepresented his personal circumstances to the public. One of the most damaging claims involves the alleged filming of key messages during the COVID-19 lockdown from a luxury penthouse, which was presented as his modest home. Oakshott has argued that this deception exemplifies a broader pattern of dishonesty in Starmer's leadership. For her, this is not merely a personal failing, but a reflection of deeper issues regarding transparency and accountability in public office. Further fueling public outrage are reports of Starmer accepting extravagant gifts, including luxury concert tickets and high-value donations. Critics argue that such actions undermine his image as a principled leader and raise ethical questions about his judgment. At a time when many citizens are struggling to make ends meet, these revelations have sparked accusations of hypocrisy, casting a shadow over his administration. Starmer's approach to foreign policy has also come under intense scrutiny. Despite opportunities to strengthen diplomatic ties, his administration has been accused of failing to seize pivotal moments on the global stage. Notably, Starmer reportedly dismissed an offer from Nigel Farage to facilitate connections with Donald Trump's camp, a decision that critics, including Oakshott, have labeled as politically naive. This reluctance to engage with controversial yet influential figures has raised concerns about Britain's strategic positioning in an increasingly polarized world. Critics argue that Starmer's cautious diplomacy and risk-averse approach are ill-suited to the demands of modern geopolitics, where bold and decisive action often yields the greatest rewards. Oakshott's criticism of Starmer extends beyond domestic and foreign policy to broader concerns about free speech and civil liberties. Under Starmer's leadership, there has been a perceived crackdown on online dissent, with critics alleging a two-tier justice system that disproportionately targets ordinary citizens while overlooking more significant issues. This debate has gained international attention, particularly through Oakshott's alignment with figures like Elon Musk, who have voiced concerns about the erosion of free speech in the UK. For Oakeshott and her supporters, the suppression of dissent is not only a threat to individual liberties, but also a symptom of a government that prioritizes control over accountability. At the center of this narrative is Isabel Oakeshott herself, a journalist known for her sharp wit and uncompromising approach to political commentary. Her relentless focus on Starmer's perceived failings has reshaped the public discourse surrounding his leadership, from exposing alleged deceptions to scrutinizing his policy decisions.